by Sagicor Life is
7 a.m. and it's now time for the Morning Watch. Morning Watch is brought to you by Educom Cooperative Credit Union, proving value through service, and also Bashco, the store that gives you more.
Educom does it again with the mega car loan sale. 100% financing, interest rate of 6.95% and up to 10 years to repay. Hurry now and visit any of our 9 branches. Call Educom at 876-926-6973 or WhatsApp 876-559-7575 for more info. Educom Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Value through service.
To Mom with Love. Bashco is giving away 2 refrigerators this Mother's Day. Starting April 24th, for every 6,000 Jamaican dollars inclusive of GTT spent in Bashco, you get a chance to win.
That's right. Just fill out your entry form and drop it in the box provided at all Bashco locations. It's that simple. The winner will be chosen on May 12, 2023 during our fun day at our Manimal store located at 10 Manchester Road.
The more you spend at Bashco, the more chances you have to win.
Check the press and our social media pages for details.
Bashco, the store that gives you more this Mother's Day.
Authorized under Section 58(3) of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM, the number 1 gospel station in Jamaica. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, and if you are overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001, and if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541, or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also check us out on Love 101 FM Facebook Live and YouTube Live in the first watch today, International Health Regulations and Pandemic Treaty, and in the second watch, the value of storytelling. In our social media question, we ask, what's the title of your favorite Jamaican story? Share your responses in our Facebook or YouTube Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your comments later on in the program, but first is I quote.
Today's I quote is an inspirational quote in honor of mothers. The best medicine in the world is a mother's kiss. Again, the best medicine in the world is a mother's kiss.
And happy Mother's Day
when it comes.
This weekend when it comes to all mothers.
Sunday morning, really.
And not every mother is biological. Some
True.
mothers have been doing mothering,
right?
Even though the children that they are mothering are not children born to them.
To them, correct.
But regardless, happy Mother's Day when it comes.
Definitely.
Jikal, I hope you're well, sir.
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am well. I am fine, sir. And we'll be right back on the Morning Watch. Listeners, don't go anywhere.
All right.
Who can do that? Juicy. Put in a chicken patty for a little boosting. Up the party specialist with something new on the menu. Cheese at the callaloo in the party too. Party. Make it a calapati. At the time, cause you know we have to have it. Party. Any kind of party. At the time, cause you know me have to have it. Add callaloo and cheese anytime, anywhere to any party. Beef, chicken, shrimp, veggie or soy. Calapati is here to stay. Only at Juicy, the party specialist.
To Mom with Love. Bashco is giving away 2 refrigerators this Mother's Day. Starting April 24th, for every 6,000 Jamaican dollars inclusive of GTT spent in Bashco, you get a chance to win.
That's right. Just fill out your entry form and drop it in the box provided at all Bashco locations. It's that simple. The winner will be chosen on May 12, 2023 during our fun day at our Manimal store located at 10 Manchester Road.
The more you spend at Bashco, the more chances you have to win.
Check the press and our social media pages for details.
Bashco, the store that gives you more this Mother's Day.
Authorized under Section 58(3) of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Love 101 invites you to listen to Encounter, presented by the Jamaica Association of Full Gospel Churches, Thursdays at 10 p.m. Every first Thursday, listen for words of upliftment from the Lighthouse Assembly with Bishop Rowan Edwards. Every second Thursday at 10 p.m., listen for a word of encouragement from Mojis Ministries International. That's Women of God in Service with Reverend Dr. Elaine Richards. Every third Thursday, receive words of strength and power from Praise Deliverance Ministry with Senior Pastor Fitzroy Carr. Every fourth Thursday, Reverend Leonie Samuels of the Richmond New Testament Church of God in St. Mary shares words of hope. For fifth Thursdays, it's words of inspiration from the New United Bible Way Church of God with Reverend Dr. Jasmine Brown. That's Encounter, presented by the Jamaica Association of Full Gospel Churches every Thursday at 10 p.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
Every time my son send the liquor ball for me, I have to go sit down and laugh all day like me have nothing else to do. No, sir, you no fear do this.
Tired of spending all day at the wharf to clear your barrel?
Driver, turn up that the little bit for me there.
Starting May 1, use contactless clearance to clear your non-commercial shipments and avoid the long wait. Call Jamaica Customs today at 876-922-51408 or email contactlessclearance@jca.gov.jm.
But God goody, me I go call customs and learn about the contactless clearance. Help me out.
Less waiting, more convenience. Try Customs contactless clearance today.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are now in the first watch, and many persons by now might have heard of the existing international health regulations and the proposed amendments to those regulations. Some persons maybe by now have heard about a pandemic treaty which is being proposed, and some persons are asking, well, what are these things? What are they about? Where is the world at in terms of these instruments being negotiated or decided upon? What will they mean to you? And what is the purpose of them? We have online today to help to discuss these things and to have a discussion around it or them, Mr. Wendell Wilkins, attorney at law, and Dr. Donovan Whyte, medical doctor. Dr. Whyte and Mr. Wilkins, how are you both this morning?
Good morning to you and your listeners.
And Dr. Whyte?
Good morning to you. Good morning, all the listeners as well. I'm good.
Good. Okay, great. Jumping right into it, sirs. Now, what are the international health regulations? We know that there is one now, but there is discussion taking place, it would appear, in terms of amending them, and what would be this pandemic treaty if and when it comes to fruition. Starting with you, Mr. Wilkins.
Yes, well, you know, the world at this stage is like a village. We are all interconnected. And therefore, whenever there's a public health emergency because of disease, infection that can spread transnationally across borders, it is good to have some coordinating approach to, first of all, prior detection and control to prevent the spread across the borders of a country to other countries. And therefore, these regulations regarding public health were devised way back in 2005, and they are known as international health regulations.
Yes.
So they are there to help with the early detection, control, and the prevention of the spread of diseases internationally from country to country.
And what of the proposed pandemic treaty? What of the proposed pandemic treaty, Mr. Wilkins?
Well, Arising out of the recent COVID-19 pandemic, we see that there are gaps in how countries domestically and how countries internationally in cooperation can deal with effectively a worldwide infection or pandemic.
I suppose the question that is really being the question to consider is if we already have these regulations, why do we now need to have a treaty?
Well, this is why. Let me finish. So, because of these gaps and deficiencies that were discovered during the COVID-19 pandemic, it is of the view coming out of the World Health Organization, and Jamaica is a member of that organization, that countries need to come together in the form of a treaty or international agreement to better handle diseases, public health diseases like COVID in a better and more equitable and fair and effective way.
Well, we know right now that the treaty is being negotiated and discussed. It's not final, but there are indications of the concept coming out of it that will be called One Health. One Health can include more than just health simpliciter, but it could include other concerns such as how to grapple with issues such as climate change. We know we have different views on climate change, but suffice it to say, it could include things such as that. So is it that, in terms of how you're looking at it, Mr. Wilkins, if you are, elaborate for us if you can in terms of it being more than just health in the simplest sense, if you can, sir.
Well, the matter of health, and public health has wide implications in the other aspects of the life of a country. So health is not in a silo. So once you touch upon public health, even domestically, because of how we interact in international relations between countries, whatever health emergency or issues of a public nature in one country can spread quickly around the world, as we saw in the COVID-19 pandemic. So lots of things have been learned from the COVID-19 experience, and therefore this is why there's a proposal to have a further and better international agreement to deal with pandemics, new pandemics that may arise. And there's a prediction by the scientists and public health specialists that more pandemics will be coming. So they are trying to organize themselves in this international agreement to better handle worldwide pandemics.
Well, let's bring in Dr. Whyte before we head to the break. Now, Dr. Whyte, sir, good morning again. Now, the type of medicine that we practice predominantly in the Western world, based on my own reading and research, is allopathic medicine. And it would appear in any event that that is the primary form of medicine that the WHO might be considering when it's looking at remedies. You also have delved into and practiced not just medicine in what you could call maybe the traditional way, but other forms of medicine. So what about those persons who might have some natural remedy or other remedy, sir? Any thoughts on that, Dr. Whyte?
Well, for sure, there are many different ways to treat any particular condition. But when we allow WHO, which is basically a privately run organization, ask who are the main supporters of WHO, and what you'll hear are a set of private names, probably about 3 or 4.
You have members. You have member states who contribute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm not disputing that. That is how it is on paper.
If you'd say
correct. Look at who the main supporters are, you'll find that there are specific individuals, and these individuals can in fact have their own agenda, and most times they do. And out of the COVID thing, what I'm seeing is really that agenda playing out. Where
Hold that thought, Dr. Whyte, for one moment, only because we're upon a break. Listeners, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the morning.
okay.
Tell me where you get the money transfer. Where you get the money transfer. Where you get the money transfer. Money move like a bird, like a plane, it's a blur. Money quick, money fast, money reach in a flash. This your agent no run out of cash.
Get your Mother's Day mommy transfer at Alliance, May 5 to May 27, and you could be one of 14 moms to win 50,000 Jamaican dollars. One winner from each parish.
Tell me where you get the money transfer.
Alliance, a member of Sadco Group Jamaica. Conditions apply.
Years of music family, 30 years of love. We're celebrating 30 years of music family, 30 years of love. We're celebrating 30 years of love. We're celebrating 30 years of love. 30 years of love.
Educom does it again with the mega car loan sale. 100% financing, interest rate of 6.95% and up to 10 years to repay. Hurry now and visit any of our 9 branches. Call Educom at 876-926-6973 or WhatsApp 876-559-7575 for more info. Educom Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Value through service.
Follow Grace Sardine, follow the better flavor. Grace Sardine with the chef and the beginner. Follow the one with pepper, that are the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody sell it. Do all of them nice. Pass the back, make push it.
Grace Sardines, follow the better flavor.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the first watch. Our guests are Wendell Wilkins, attorney at law, and Dr. Donovan Whyte, medical doctor. The topic is international health regulations and pandemic treaty. Dr. Whyte, just before the break, you were making a point. Please continue.
Yeah, as I was saying, because of the influence of private individuals on the WHO has been known to make decisions that are not necessarily in keeping with international health standards. And what they would love to do is to have that particular body becoming a world leader and a world decision maker. Bear in mind that these people were never, in fact, voted for or elected by any people of any country. So I would love to be very careful where that is concerned. I want to ensure that the decision makers are, in fact, the countries that were democratically elected by their people to represent the views of their people, but not to represent the fears that individuals may have to push on others in order to get their own agenda going.
Very interesting, Dr. Whyte. Bringing you back in here, Mr. Wilkins. Treaties are, in fact, supposed to be voluntary. And, so far in any event, I'm not sure what is the position of Jamaica to the proposed pandemic treaty. But suffice it to say, if Jamaica were to become subject to this treaty, do you have any thoughts? We know that the treaty is not yet in force, but do you have any thoughts in relation to how it might affect us as a sovereign country, Mr. Wilkins?
Yes, we are members of the World Health Organization, which is a major branch of the United Nations, and we are also a member there. So the constitution of the World Health Organization and the impact of constitutional activities like a new international treaty on pandemic, which is being proposed, will impact upon us, because it is likely that the government of Jamaica will support and subscribe to this new international treaty when it comes into force, and the time period or the timeline is next year, 2024. And therefore,
I think the month in May,
international agreement will impact on Jamaica, but Jamaica supposedly as a sovereign nation decide domestically within the country how we apply the international treaty. But the problem is that these treaty obligations are not coming from the bottom of the state, from the people, as to what we want, what kind of treaty we want. It is just technocrats and the particular minister who has the portfolio responsibility will go off and discuss the treaty provisions, and the technocrats give advice, and the government signs off. So the input, as Dr. Whyte is saying, of the people who have a say as citizens, is not usually incorporated in these treaty discussions. And then when the government comes now to domestically decide by law, public health laws, what is to be done, again, oftentimes Parliament doesn't give an opportunity for the ordinary folk to participate in it. There's a sort of imposition or a quick fix because of some...
You are raising some issues of democracy here, Mr. Wilkins.
Indeed. Very much so.
Interesting.
I'd like to add something, that if you look at the COVID pandemic, bear in mind that the people who were making the major decisions are not qualified to make those decisions.
When you say not qualified, what exactly do you mean by that?
But I have to. Tedros is not a medical doctor, but yet he was spreading so much propaganda about management of the disease. And all of the countries have been following it. And if you've been following what has been happening, it was just one big scam to tell people to wear masks. It was just a fake. Because the people who were making masks were making a lot of money. To tell people to take vaccines that did not work was also another part of this fraud. So we have to be very careful about who we allow to make these decisions on our behalf.
You very strong words there, Dr. Whyte. What would you have wanted to have seen happen in the situation?
Well, if the WHO was really properly run, then Tedros could not have been in charge of the WHO. I don't see how WHO can be run by somebody who is not a medical personnel.
Well, sometimes you have persons who might have managerial capabilities.
That will affect people's health internationally if he's not so qualified.
He could be advised by persons who...
Well, the WHO is as advisory bodies, technical experts, and these are these are doctors that advise the administrative or the executive part of the World Health Organization. But there is, in the background, pharmaceutical companies who are able to put forward quickly nowadays, because of technology, products that apparently is of assistance. Sometimes we're not too sure, or there's a debate, and the World Health Organization, following evidence and the traditional approach, will adopt some of these solutions, which sometimes, as in the COVID-19 situation, we are not sure about, or the information coming out about the efficacy of some of these pharmaceuticals is in doubt or unclear.
Exactly.
So that criticism of how the World Health Organization can influence public health worldwide is something to take into consideration, expose, and discuss.
Interesting, Mr. Wilkins. You raised the issue of democracy earlier on. So is it that you're saying that there can be international collaboration to deal with health situations, but what you're concerned about is that it should not be at the expense of a country being able to fully control its own local situation? Is that where you're going, Mr. Wilkins?
Yes, sovereignty is an important aspect. So nothing in international agreements or treaties should impose on any country domestically by way of laws and public health matters. And then domestically, how laws are passed doesn't incorporate the ordinary folk in public health matters. So typically you will find that the local persons who have an attraction to World Health Organization statements and pronouncements will follow that because of the treaty and the regulatory framework that the country operates under. And there is not much domestic input or discussion. So laws can be passed on public health to comply with the provisions of these international agreements that don't have full discussion with the people who are going to be affected by the measures, as we see in the COVID-19 situation recently.
Very interesting, Mr. Wilkins. I want to bring you back in, Dr. Whyte. You have treated persons, of course, and persons can have allergies, as you may know. So let us say that someone with a particular allergy to a particular medication, etc., or procedure, they come to you and you might say, well, you have this particular allergy and there's a particular ingredient in a particular drug or vaccination or injection, as the case may be. Are you concerned, therefore, Dr. Whyte, that if this treaty were to come to pass or the regulations were to be amended to the current IHR, International Health Regulations, that some persons might be affected negatively because they might be not compelled, but find themselves being legally bound to take a procedure that goes against their own personal health situation? Is that the sort of thing you're concerned about, Dr. Whyte?
Which is my point exactly. That's exactly what happened with COVID. Because many people are being forced to take an experimental treatment that was never really tested by science. How can we have a vaccine ready within 3 to 6 months of an epidemic? It makes absolutely no sense. It has never been tested, and yet they're going to tell you what the effect will be on pregnant people and on babies. It has never been tested. So what we need to do is that we need to follow the scientific principles involved and not just the voice of a few people who are thoroughly influenced by the pharmaceutical industry.
Interesting. Well, we're almost at the end of this segment already. Any recommendations on what the government of Jamaica, for example, should do and regular citizens should do in light of what appears to be this soon to come treaty, albeit it may not come to pass until next year, May 2024, but time goes very quickly. Before you know it, will be at next year. Next year will be here. Mr. Wilkins?
Yes, well, the citizens have an obligation to themselves in terms of their own health. And therefore, having that obligation, they must bring themselves aware of what is going on in infections and disease locally and internationally. And as a result of that knowledge coming to them, they insist politically on their political representative of whatever stripe to involve them in a process of discussion as to what measures are going to be taken, and if there's going to be a legal framework, that the people have an input in that. And
in terms of legal language, Mr. Wilkins, only because of time, it is being indicated so far in an event that these regulations, as the case may be, would be applied by the WHO, even if there's a potential risk, not necessarily only an actual risk. Any concern about the language where the word potential risk could also be included, not just an actual health situation?
Yes, well, we do know that in public health there's an element of proactivity.
Okay.
That is, you monitor and you detect early and take early measures. So that is consistent with the modus operandi of public health officials locally.
Only because of time, Mr. Wilkins, I want to bring in Dr. Wilkins for a final comment. Dr. Wilkins, any final comments you want to leave us?
Dr. White.
Dr. White. Dr. White.
A couple of years ago, I understand that Jamaica had signed off on a WHO protocol that they refer to as the Codex Alimentarius. Don't know if I've ever heard of that, but it's something you need to do some research on. And it is a very far-reaching concept, because under that concept is going to determine what is used as a drug, what is used to treat, and what is not used to treat. And Jamaica had signed off on it in agreement. And when I checked with the people who actually made the decision, it was just done by a political head because the medical association was never consulted about the issue. It was never discussed as a public health issue. But yet we have signed off on that particular protocol. What about the others to come?
We are totally out of time, gentlemen. Mr. Wilkins and Dr. Whyte, I want to thank you for your thoughts and for the things you have indicated to us. Essentially, I think both of you are saying caution, 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 caution. In fact, maybe Dr. Whyte, you're going even further to say no, not at all. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back at the Morning Watch.
J&B Bank Small Business Loans. Tell us your business and let's turn your ambitions into reality. The time by J&B Bank Small Business Loans is
7:31.
Improving your credit score. Having a high credit score is great, and the opposite is true. Having a bad credit score is detrimental to your financial health. One way to improve your credit score is by paying your bills in full on time, every time. After 6 to 12 months of on-time payments in full, you should see a noticeable improvement in your score. This financial literacy tip was brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&B Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&B Bank will help you find a way.
For 51 years, Under the Law has been helping you to know your rights and how the laws of Jamaica can help you defend those rights. The program is brought to you on Wednesday by the Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy. Under the Law at 6:20 a.m., 2:35, 6:45, and 9:10 p.m. on Love 101 FM.
To Mom with Love, Bashco is giving away 2 refrigerators this Mother's Day. Starting April 24 for every 6,000 Jamaican dollars inclusive of GTT spent in Bashco, you get a chance to win.
That's right. Just fill out your entry form and drop it in the box provided at all Bashco locations. It's that simple. The winner will be chosen on May 12, 2023 during our fun day at our Mandeville store located at 10 Manchester Road.
The more you spend at Bashco, the more chances you have to win.
Check the press and our social media pages for details.
Bashco, the store that gives you more this Mother's Day.
Authorized under Section 58(3) of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Educom does it again with the mega car loan sale. 100% financing, interest rate of 6.95% and up to 10 years to repay. Hurry now and visit any of our 9 branches. Call Educom at 876-926-6973 or WhatsApp 876-559-7575 for more info. Educom Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Value through service.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's take a look now at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. We have in the Gleaner, People's National Party says rape comment was not directed at female journalist. We have in the online publication here, Loop Jamaica News, robbers dressed as security guards hit halfway through jewelry store. And we have in the Observer an interesting article here, bonding over brunch, a Mother's Day celebration. And we have here, as it reads, Mother's Day is a special occasion to show your mom how much you love and appreciate her, and what better way to celebrate than by hosting a delicious brunch at home. And there's a picture of a little boy here holding what looks like a basket with a card in it that says Happy Mother's Day, with some pastries, strawberries, etc., etc., etc. Those and many other stories in our various news sources. And of course, coming up next, we'll have you some feedback from our Facebook and WhatsApp question, which is, what's the title of your favorite Jamaican story? If you haven't done so yet, leave a comment on our Facebook or YouTube. Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes too. 876-997-3125 using hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
Not everyone likes change, but change is inevitable. Join us this Thursday, May 11, on the Truly Marvelous program To Have and to Hold as we discuss dealing with personality changes in your marriage with Pastor Napoleon Black and Colleen Beckles, right here on the family station Love 101.
Something big is coming, something full of fun. And when we touch the road, you will see the way it's done. Get your bags and attitude ready. The summer is coming. On your mark, we steady. Love 101 is hitting the road again. So bring your family, join the party, and remember, bring your friend.
Ready for another exciting show inside Alive 1 to 5 this Throwback Thursday, May 11? Well, join me, your host, Sarah and the Chirpy One, for another time to recollect and reconnect. Stay tuned for the brain testing exercise at 1:45. Then Prayer Blast will be at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15 inside Pieces of the Past, we share with you some more historic facts. Then at 3 p.m., Make We Talk is back. We bring you a rebroadcast episode. All this will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. this Throwback Thursday, May 11 on the family station, Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on Love 101, you're invited to listen to Good Morning Minister, a weekly feature where government ministers will speak about the development in their various ministries. Listen for the updates and have your questions and concerns ready to share inside Good Morning Minister as the Minister of Information, Robert Nesta Morgan, and a guest minister or agency head discuss the issues and take your questions and suggestions. Get ready to call in during Good Morning Minister, 11 a.m. on Wednesdays, right here on Love 101, the family station.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's join Jakal for a look at how our Facebook and WhatsApp friends answer today's question. What's the title? What's the title of your favorite Jamaican story, Jakal?
Yes. So we do have some responses here on our WhatsApp line. I have a voice note. This voice note is from Phyllis in St. Thomas. Again, hey, Phyllis, good morning. Talk to me. Let me hear what you're saying today.
Good morning, Brother Stokeley. Well, my favorite story is the day when Uriah preached. That day when Uriah preached. I really like that story when Uriah preached.
All right. Thank you so much, Phyllis from St. Thomas. Sister Matilda Wainwright from Sandy Bay.
Good morning. My favorite Jamaican story is a ducky story entitled Natty Natty Park. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Marcia said, my favorite story is Brother Anansi. Oh, nice. Joan Dawkins said, one of my favorite story is My Auntie Roaches by the Honorable Louise Bennett. I see Reverend Adet Mitchell says favorite Jamaican story is Duppy stories. For example, Scoppy the Dumpy, who stoned people's houses. Wow, all right. And that is the one that I have here, or the last one that I have here.
That one, Jakal?
Yes, can you hear me? I wasn't able to hear you just now.
Oh, yes, can you go ahead?
No. I was saying that was the last voice note that we have here.
Oh, that was the last.
Yes, that was the last one.
Yes, listeners, for that gap there a moment ago because I wasn't hearing the Jakal at all. And I thought he was still speaking, but just that I wasn't hearing him. Well, we move right into the second watch. And once upon a time, on Tuesday, May 9th, 2023, to be exact, there was a day called Read Across Jamaica Day. On that day, in an extra special part of Jamaica, about 100 children were delightfully engaged by storyteller extraordinaire Dr. Amina Blackwood-Meeks. The day was hosted by the JN Foundation. But why such a day and what did it do for children? We have as our guest today Dr. Amina Blackwood-Meeks herself, storyteller, writer, director, award-winning actress, and Omar Wright, lead environment and community development programs for the JN Foundation. Mr. Wright and Dr. Blackwood-Meeks, good morning. Mr. Wright and Dr. Blackwood-Meeks, are you with us? We seem to not have them right now. The morning watch will be right back.
Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on Love 101, you're invited to listen to Good Morning Minister, a weekly feature where government ministers will speak about the development in their various ministries. Listen for the updates and have your questions and concerns ready to share inside Good Morning Minister as the Minister of Information, Robert Nesta Morgan, and a guest minister or agency head discuss the issues and take your questions and suggestions. Get ready to call in during Good Morning Minister, 11 a.m. on Wednesdays, right here on Love 101, the family station.
Something big is coming, something full of fun. And when we touch the road, you will see the way it's done. Get your bags and attitude ready. The summer is coming. On your mark, we steady. Love 101 is hitting the road again. So bring your family, join the party, and remember, bring your friend.
Are you ready for another exciting show inside Alive 1 to 5 this Throwback Thursday, May 11? Well, join me, your host, Sarah and the Chirpy One, for another time to recollect and reconnect. Stay tuned for the brain testing exercise at 1:45. Then Prayer Blast will be at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15 inside Pieces of the Past, we share with you some more historic facts. Then at 3 p.m., Make We Talk is back. We bring you a rebroadcast episode. All the summer will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. This Throwback Thursday, May 11 on the family station, Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Not everyone likes change, but change is inevitable. Join us this Thursday, May 11, on the truly marvelous program To Have and to Hold as we discuss dealing with personality changes in your marriage with Pastor Napoleon Black and Colleen Beckles, right here on the family station, Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the second watch, and we do apologize for that break. A moment ago, we were having some challenges with our telephone lines. We have online now Omar Wright, Lead Environment and Community Development Programs, JN Foundation. And we do not have online as yet Dr. Amina Blackwood-Meeks, storyteller.
Dr. Amina Blackwood-Meeks is right here. Good morning.
You're with us now, Dr. Blackwood-Meeks. Okay.
Yes.
So, getting right into it, ladies and gentlemen, why such a day? Why such a day in terms of Read Across Jamaica Day? Why such a day, the origin of it, and the involvement of JN Foundation? Shall I start with you, Dr. Blackwood-Meeks?
Let me first say good morning to you, Mr. Marshall, and to your listeners. Happy Thursday, and good morning to you, Auntie Amina.
Good morning, dear Omar.
I trust that you are well, as well as all of our listeners this morning.
So, John Stokely, you asked about why Read Across Jamaica Day and why.
Well, you go right ahead, Mr. Wright. Yes, I was asking Dr. Blackwood-Meeks, but go right ahead, sir. JN Foundation, how did you get involved?
All right. So, Read Across Jamaica Day was initially created in 2003. And it was really out of an initiative by a researcher, a student researcher, researching Jamaica's education system. And what she found was that there were a number of Jamaican students who were passing to the next grade and they were not achieving mastery in literacy, basic literacy at that. And so one of the things that she worked with the Jamaica Teachers Association to do was to develop this day around reading and literacy. And so the day has now...
Why storytelling? Why storytelling?
Why storytelling? Okay, so why storytelling? Because storytelling is a way how you can nurture your mind. You can see the possibilities. And I'm sure Auntie Amina will give us some more on why storytelling. It was that we said that storytellers rule the world. And so one of the things that we tried to do with this initiative was to create in the minds of our young ones through Read Across Jamaica Day that possibility, to see the possibility. And we chose Liberty Hall, the place that celebrates the legacy of Jamaica's first national hero, the Right Excellent Marcus Garvey.
Dr. Blackwood-Meeks?
Everything we do is a story. Everything we do is a story. The fact that a little boy called Newton sat under a tree and an apple fell in his head and him said, is what just happened there, so? And decided to investigate that is a story. The way we create in maths, everything we do is a story. We are now telling you the story of what happened at Liberty Hall last week. We have to tell the story of Marcus Garvey. A long time ago, our foreparents used to say, heads come before book. And the griots and storytellers in Africa used to be able to carry thousands, not hundreds, thousands of years of history in their heads. I'm sure you know many Jamaicans, if you say to them Marshall, they can tell you where the Marshalls live, how many of them live in Hanover, how many migrated to Westmoreland. So we also have our social history encoded in our stories. We are nothing but our stories. Chinua Achebe wrote in Ant Hills of the Savannah that the stories are our guides. Without them, we are like blind beggars stumbling into the cactus fences. The way your parents met is a story. The way you, and you ought to know it. It's part of the collective history of Jamaica, how our parents meet. So there is, and court and get married and produce us. So there is nothing we can do which does not involve story and storytelling. The Bible is a wonderful collection of stories.
Read Across Jamaica Day. That was this week, Tuesday, May the 9th. What did it do for the children? Dr. Blackwood-Meeks, you want to help us to understand what?
Well, this year we had 2 Read Across Jamaica Days because the Jamaica Read Across Jamaica Day falls in Education Week. And so many students and schools just went ahead and planned a Read Across Jamaica Day for the first Wednesday, only to discover that Education Week really is the first full week of May. And so there was a doubling up. Today, I am in Westmoreland. I'm on my way to the Savlamar Hospital to read for the children. Yesterday, I was at Gregory Park Primary School, and then Region 3 of the Ministry of Education did something wonderful. They had all the schools in Region 3 on the electronic platforms, and I was able to read to them. Reading is a stimulus, as Omar so rightly put it. And if I were to reflect on what happened last week at the Liberty Hall, the children were paying attention. They were so keen. And because they were following the storyline, after every book was read, after every reader, they were able to answer questions from the book. So we know that reading and storytelling form gateways to learning. When you listen to a story, you have to understand the story. You have to be able to summarize the story, and you have to be able to retell the story. And all of that provide us with gateways to literacy. Listening, comprehending, summarizing, and being able to retell it.
Mr. Wright, I think you were trying to comment at one point. Would you like to go ahead?
Oh, no, so I was just going to compliment that point. So going back to your question on why read across Jamaica and why reading and storytelling. So I went back to when I was growing up, and storytelling really provided an engaging and interactive experience, and especially the folklore of Jamaica. And that created in me a desire to learn more. So storytelling and reading stories can engender that desire in you to want to learn more. Storytelling can also help you, as Auntie Amina just said, with your listening and comprehension skills. And that is critical for literacy. And we know that that's one of the problems that we're seeing, especially at the early childhood age.
Well, let me ask you, Mr. Wright, I know that you're here today as the lead for environment and community development programs at JN Foundation, but let me ask you on a personal level, in terms of your own experience hearing stories when you were in school and promoting literacy, etc., how did you find that experience? You did touch on it, but can you develop on it some more? How much value you think it had for you, and what would have been missing had you not had stories told to you as you're growing up in school?
So just reflecting back on my experience with reading and storytelling coming back in the days, I remember we used to get those storybooks that I'm a boy, or you would have those poems and dub poems that we were saying in school. And what it really did for me was it created almost a different universe where you can imagine the possibilities and what you can aspire to, what you can be. So when I heard stories of or national heroes, when I heard stories about our prime ministers, that engendered in me a desire to want to aspire to be more and do more. And so I think storytelling, reading, really does that, especially at the tender age, where your mind is being developed. Reading and
hold that thought, Mr. Wright, because very important. Hold that thought 1 second, Mr. Wright, and of course, Dr. Blackwood-Meeks. We are going to take a short break. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
Okay.
Praise sardine for the chef and the beginner. Follow the one with pepper, that are the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody
Praise
sell it.
sardines, follow the better flavor.
The time is
7:53.
Breast cancer is real. Cervical cancer is real. Heart attack and stroke are real, and so are pregnancy complications. As a woman, if you're hit with one of these critical illnesses or complications, your whole life can be turned upside down. Total Woman Insurance Plan gives you real insurance protection for up to 15 major critical illnesses, life insurance, and other benefits, including free cancer screening. Get serious about your coverage. Get real protection with Total Woman Insurance Plan from Sagicor Life.
Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on Love 101, you're invited to listen to Good Morning Minister, a weekly feature where government ministers will speak about the development in their various ministries. Listen for the updates and have your questions and concerns ready to share inside Good Morning Minister as the Minister of Information, Robert Nesta Morgan, and a guest minister or agency head discuss the issues and take your questions and suggestions. Get ready to call in during Good Morning Minister, 11 a.m. on Wednesdays, right here on Love 101, the family station.
Educom does it again with the mega car loan sale. 100% financing, interest rate of 6.95% and up to 10 years to repay. Hurry now and visit any of our 9 branches. Call Educom at 876-926-6973 or WhatsApp 876-559-7575 for more info. Educom Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Value through service.
Sebastian Braham Ministries presents Mother's Day Experience, Sunday, May 14 at 6:30 p.m. Holiday Haven Resort, Runaway Bay, St. Anne. Entertainment by Kokodu, Joanne Flemings, O'Shane Mays, Sebastian Braham, and many more. Comedian Kathy Turan. Admission $3,000 pre-sold, $3,500 at the gate. Children under 12, $1,000. Ticket outlets: Runaway Bay Community Pharmacy, New Discovery Pharmacy, Discovery Bay, Lismel Pharmacy, St. Anne's Bay, Great House Pharmacy, Ocho Rios. Your mother deserves this.
They're full of life. You're full of love. They're carefree. You care more. That's why we created Child Protector, a critical illness insurance plan from Sagicor Life. It provides coverage for your child in the event of 15 critical illnesses, hospitalization benefits, life insurance, and investment benefits. So make sure your child can live life to the fullest. Apply for Sagicor Child Protector today.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the final moments of the second watch, and our guests in this segment are Dr. Amina Blackwood-Meeks, storyteller, and Omar Wright of JN Foundation. Dr. Blackwood-Meeks, you just heard, I could call it a testimony, a story of what...
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I want to go back to what Omar said about creating a universe, because what that the responsibility that puts on us is to be careful about our choice of stories. I went to a school last week where the children were so enthusiastic and spirited about guessing. They were given various riddles, and the answer to each riddle would have been a character from a storybook. And there was Rapunzel and Pinocchio, and there was Red Riding Hood and all kinds of characters from Harry Potter. Not one question about a Nancy. Why is this important? We are now, as a nation, imagining a new universe called a republic.
Well, Dr. Blackwood-Meeks, and I know that Nancy is a well-loved character, but some people will argue that there's a dark side.
I'm not going to bad talk on Nancy this morning, because that's not the point I'm making. The point I am making is,
Dr. Blackwood-Meeks, it doesn't undermine the point I just made. But go ahead.
And Nancy is ours. Rapunzel and the little girl.
But some of those European stories have issues too.
This is exactly the point I am making. Nobody says...
I'm not discriminating. Some of those European stories have a lot of issues.
And nobody says we are not to be teaching those stories in school. I want you to hear the larger...
But anyway, go ahead, Dr. Blackwood.
The larger point I am making, Mr. Marshall, is that we are imagining a new universe as a nation. And we don't have any stories to empower our children's imagination about what that new universe should be. Because all our lives, up to Jamaica 60, we have been told...
I don't think Mr. Wright used the term universe, but go ahead, Dr. Blackwood-Meeks. You had mentioned that he said so. I don't remember him saying that, but go ahead. Dr. Blackwood-Meeks, where do you vision Jamaica going in terms of storytelling in relation to children going forward? Because as has been pointed out, and that's why JN Foundation has been so pivotal here, it does help to improve literacy, and it does help to improve, just the growing up process. Dr. Blackwood-Meeks, as we wrap today.
I just want to ask Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright, did you in fact say that storytelling helped you to imagine a different universe? Did you use the word universe?
Yes, I did.
My apologies. I didn't hear that when you said that. But we are literally out of time now. Dr. Blackwood-Meeks, any final words you want to leave with us in a second or two?
That there needs to be a great deal more stories being told in schools, and those stories should be about who we are. Should be about Marcus Garvey, should be about Nanny,
Thank you.
should be about your grandmother, and should be about a Nancy and the bad public relations that a Nancy has been given by
Maybe
our
it should be about maybe not the negatives, but we have to leave it there today, Dr. Blackwood-Meeks, and we have to leave it there, today, Mr. Wright, because we're completely and totally out of time. We really want to encourage the improvement of literacy among our children. Thank you for your time and for your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, listeners, for being with us today. Please, of course, join our Love One FM YouTube channel and Facebook page for this and all other Love One FM programs. And of course, listen to the Morning Watch on our Love 101 app and download it today and stay connected to us, a family station. We are the #1 gospel station in Jamaica, the #4 in the island. This has been the Morning Watch. Have a blessed weekend and join Reverend Dr. Dallin Toussaint next week as he looks at other topical and controversial issues. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and to our guests. I am Stokeley Marsh, handing it back to Love in the Morning with Jukal.